Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Tonight is 15th of Rabiul Thani 1439. We are going to start chapter 44 from Kitab Tawheed, the explanation by Shaykh Uthaymeen rahimahullah. The English version, volume 2, page 240. Chapter 44, saying as Allah wills and as you will. Qutayla reported that a Jew came to the Prophet ﷺ and said, "You join partners with Allah, saying, as Allah wills and as you will. You also say, by the Kaaba." Thereupon the Prophet ﷺ ordered that whenever they swear, they should say, by the Lord of the Kaaba. And they may also say, as Allah wills and then as you will. Reported by An-Nasai. He graded this tahrir.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وعلى من تبع هداهم إلى يوم الدين. Indeed, all praise is due to Allah, and may peace and blessing be upon His blessed Muhammad, Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The chapter is chapter number 44, and the chapter titled ما شاء الله وشئت. The person saying, if Allah wills and you will. And this chapter is linked to the Tawheed in the sense of that when the person says ما شاء الله وشئت, it could be from the major or the minor shirk. For verily, if the person believes that the person who had mentioned washit is equal to Allah, then he's making shirk akbar. So if Allah wills and He wills or you will, if you make the He or the you equivalent to Allah, you're making shirk akbar. And if you have said it in the way that you don't mean that whatever you mention is equal to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then it is minor shirk. So that is the link between the chapter title and the book of the Tawheed. Here we have Qutayla. She says, and she's from the companions, that a Jewish, and one of the narrations she says that he is from the rabbis. So it's a Jewish rabbi, it's not a normal Jewish. He is a scholar. So one of the narrations says he is from the rabbis. He came to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wa alihi wasallam, and he said, "Innakum tushrikun." You commit, that is shirk. In another narration, which is the Shaykh al-Albani discusses in his Silsila Sahihah 1166, he said, "Ya Muhammad, O Muhammad." And when the Jewish says Ya Muhammad, it's a sign of disrespect. And if he says Ya Abu al-Qasim, it's a sign of respect. He says, "Ya Muhammad, ni'mal qawmu antum." Good people you are. How good you are. That means the Muslims. "Lawla annakum tushrikun." Had it been that you commit shirk. So the Prophet ﷺ, he said, "Subhanallah." The sign of that amazed. Subhanallah, I mean, we commit shirk. And how is that? وَمَا ذَاكَ? He said, you saying, when you make an oath, when you swear, وَالْكَعْبَةِ. And when you make an oath, you swear, you say, وَالْكَعْبَةِ, by the cube. So, and the Prophet ﷺ, he said to the companions, he who makes an oath, then let him say, وَرَبُّ الْكَعْبَةِ, by the Lord of the Kaaba. Then the Jewish man, the Jewish rabbi said, "O Muhammad, how good people you are. Had it been that you commit, you're making somebody or something as equal to Allah, تَجْعَلُوا لِلَّهِ نِدًّا." Prophet said, "Subhanallah." And how is this? So he said, you're saying, if Allah wills and you will. So the Prophet ﷺ, he said, he who says, "Ma sha Allah," then let him say, and then if you wish, if you will. So just put the word and then if you will. In this hadith and this story, we could find that the person, when he says, "Wal Kaaba," even though he means not by the cube, by the Lord of the cube, then he is committing shirk. And normally it is shirk asghar. Why it is shirk asghar? Because it's shirk in the words. And the person doesn't mean to make the Kaaba equal to the Almighty subhanahu wa ta'ala. So those who say by Allah, by the Father or by the Kaaba, all of that, this is called shirk, and it's shirk asghar. And the person, when he says, if Allah wills and you will, normally it is shirk asghar. Unless he wants to make Allah equal to the one who says, and you will. And normally he does not mean that. So it is shirk asghar. From this hadith we benefit the following. That the Prophet ﷺ accepts the haqq even from the shaitan. Prophet ﷺ accepts the haqq even from the shaitan. Because he accepted it from a Jewish person. Even though the Jewish rabbi, he was a person who's criticizing the Muslims. So that is, person accepts the haqq regardless of whom he's saying the haqq. He accepted it with wholeheartedly, didn't say object. He said, okay, we make shirk. So he will accept it, and he did not as well use that as an alibi to say, oh, well, before you fix me, fix yourself. Because this Jewish person, he knows that he's committing the shirk and even more than that. He's attributing a son to Allah by saying, Uzayn ibn Allah. This is one of the things which are famous for, but they are doing even more than that. So the Jewish person, even though it is more deserved to say to him that you are the ones committing shirk, the Prophet ﷺ did not take advantage of that and say to him, before you fix me, before you tell me, before you advise me, advise yourself. And I'm telling this to the brothers, when somebody is advised, straight away he will be on the attacking attacking side. He says, oh, why are you saying this? Why may Allah guide me? May Allah guide you first. May Allah forgive you first. And you just take that on board, inshallah, and use another time, not to make it, well, I'm going to fix you, advise yourself before you advise me. Take the haqq from the person, regardless how he presented the haqq, and regardless of who had said the haqq, whether it's the person is good or not good. And when the Prophet says, subhanallah, it's a word to be said when you are saying the matter is great. Subhanallah, it means, are we committing shirk? Also we benefit from this, that the religion of the prophets is to be one. So whatever Musa ﷺ brought, and whatever the Prophet ﷺ had brought, comes from one thing. And that is why the Prophet ﷺ said, Al-Anbiya abna'u illat. The prophets are sons of one religion. Abna'u illat. So they are brothers to one mother. So the mother is one. Okay? Maybe they're different fathers. Different mother is one. Abna'u illat. So their religion is one. And also we benefit from this, that the Jewish person, he knows the mind of shirk. Because he, when he came to deny and object upon the Prophet, said, you good people, but you do this shirk, he knows that these people are monotheistic. These people who have followed Muhammad, they left the major shirk, but they're committing minor shirk. And that is why he, the Jewish, knows what is minor shirk and what is major shirk. So he's knowledgeable for that. And also, it benefits us that if the person knows the haqq, it doesn't mean that he accepts it, that he believes in it. So this Jewish person, he knows the haqq, yet he's committing shirk. So regardless of him knowing the haqq, it doesn't mean that he accepts it. And that what we say that, for example, Iblis, he knows Allah the Almighty deserves to be worshipped, yet he knows, he's got the knowledge, but he did not, take on board that the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when he said to him, prostrate to Adam. He said to him, how can I prostrate to something which is, I'm better than him. Also, we find the Orientalists, they are themselves, they, for example, benefit us that they say Muhammad said this and Islam bring this. They know lots of knowledge. We benefit from their books, but they don't believe. They are non-Muslims. So a person knowing the haqq, it doesn't mean he believes in the haqq and he accepts it. Also, the Prophet ﷺ, we benefit from him, that when he fixed the matters, he did not fix them in a way which he gave an alternative which is far away from what they are doing. So he said to the companions, don't say well Kaaba, say by the Lord of the Kaaba. Look at that. He didn't say by Ar-Rahman or by Ar-Rahim, which is correct, but he wanted to correct that issue, which is, because he's saying well Kaaba, just add the word Warabbul Kaaba, by the Lord of the Kaaba. And also, he commanded to say, instead of saying MashaAllah, you say MashaAllah, then worship. Instead of MashaAllah, wa, and you, if Allah wills, and you should say the and into then, and then you will. Because you want to separate by the word thumma. Going to the following. Abdullah ibn Abbas.
He also reported from Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma that a man said to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as Allah wills and you will. Thereupon he retorted, do you make me an equal with Allah? Rather, as Allah alone wills.
Before we go to that hadith, Shaykh Ibn Uthaymeen rahimahullah discusses a question here. I'm just looking at the explanation. He says, how, if it's been said, how is it that the Jewish man is the only one who is actually objecting to such a thing? I mean, why the Prophet of Allah had, fixed that before this Jewish man to come forward and fix things for him? Well, first of all, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I was going to discuss inshallah, the last benefit inshallah, we'll discuss that. First of all, it's a shirk asghar. Prophet of Allah was a shirk akbar, straight away he will fix it. But when it is shirk asghar, and the Prophet ﷺ is not clear from him because the companions are doing it and there's no revelation, sometimes the Prophet of Allah will be quiet. And we're going to discuss that in further details when we come to the following hadith of Tawheed. Tawheed, we come to that, inshallah, we'll add to that benefit, great benefit from this. Coming to this hadith of Abdullah ibn Abbas, when a man, and he did not mention the name of the man because we're not concerned who is that man, it's a companion. He said to the Prophet ﷺ, if Allah wills and you will. So he said, did you make me an equal to Allah? Saved by Allah on his own. So this is, we learn from this, that the Prophet ﷺ had said this after he had heard this from the Jews. Because it was not before. Said, because the Prophet of Allah said to the Jews, really? Subhanallah, are we doing this? So this hadith, definitely from Allah. So the benefit here, this is after he had heard from the Jews. And after the revelation came to tell the Prophet of Allah, you have to fix this. So the Prophet of Allah, not only he had fixed it, but actually he had, you could say, rebuked the person who had said it. In a way he said, are you making me rival to Allah? And he's talking to a companion. So we benefit from this, that when you fix a person's words, we are fixing it according to his actions and his words, not according to what is his intention. So if I said to you something that, brother, this is wrong, don't say to me that I did not intend that. Even if you did not intend that, does not excuse you from being blamed or liable for saying it. So if you said something wrong, I'm going to fix you according to what you have said, not according to what you believe. And lots of people, they say something, I didn't mean it. Okay, well you didn't mean it, it's good, alhamdulillah, but even though you didn't mean it, you can't say it. You can't do it. So the benefit is here, not to look at the intention, but to look at the wordings. Also we benefit from this, being harsh into, sometimes that you need to be harsh, it's not called harshness. So if you are in a situation where you need to be a bit harsh, okay, that's not called harshness. Actually, if you're not harsh, that is the one we could say that you're going extreme. You should be harsh. You should be harsh because it's a situation that requires that. It requires that. So, شِدَّةُ فِي مَكَانِهَا لَا تُعَدُّ شِدَّةً. So he said to him, are you making me equal to God? Say مَا شَاءَ اللَّهُ وَحْدَهُ. And he did not say here, say if Allah wills and then I will. The other one, he fixed it what he said, if Allah wills and then if you will. Why didn't he say here, why didn't you say if Allah wills and then you will, Messenger of Allah? Because a Prophet of Allah want to close the gate of shirk. And he doesn't want to make people think that, okay, the Prophet of Allah is equal to God. Because some of the people, they do that. So, the person needs to know that, much better, that when the person is actually, Prophet ﷺ, he said, if Allah wills and you don't will, then if you will, Prophet of Allah, he wants to make the Muslim as far as he can from attributing anything beyond what the Messenger of Allah is. And that's why he said, say Abdullah wa Rasul. So when it came to the Prophet of Allah, he did not say, and then if you will, which is okay, but the Prophet of Allah, he wants to cut that off. Now, just because you have that microphone affected my microphone. No. As soon as you put this off, the headache is gone. Because I talk, I know what I'm talking about. Headache is really ding in my head. I don't know why the people use the echoes. I don't understand why. Okay, I mean echoes is bid'ah. Isn't it bid'ah? Isn't it bid'ah? I'm asking, isn't it bid'ah? It's bid'ah. Allah ya akhi, subhanallah. Now, so don't do this, please.
Ibn Majah reported from Tufail and Aisha's stepbrother from her mother that I dreamt as if I approached a group of Jews. I said to them, "You're good people, if not that you say Uzair is Allah's son."
How can it be stepbrother? I don't understand.
Aisha's stepbrother from her mother.
A brother from her mother. Stepbrother doesn't work. You understand the stepbrother?
Different father.
The stepbrother, if it's your brother from your mother, you don't say him stepbrother.
Yeah, of course.
One of your brother. Isn't it? Yes. So stepbrother is different. Like for a stepbrother, for example,
Yes,
from, let's say, from a different mother and different father. Maybe it's from the father, yes?
yeah, different father.
Married into you, but it's not, so it's not step, he is a brother. There you go, now.
I dreamt as if I approached a group of Jews, and I said to them, "You are good people, if not that you say Uzair is Allah's son." They replied that, "You are good people, if not that you say as Allah wills and as Muhammad wills." Then I passed by a group of Christians, and I said, "You are good people, if not that you say the Messiah is Allah's son." They answered that, "You are good people, if not that you say as Allah wills and as Muhammad wills." And when I woke up in the morning, I told some among the people, and then I came to the Prophet ﷺ and told him too. Thereupon he ﷺ inquired, "Have you told it to anyone?" I responded, "Yes." He said, then he thanked Allah and praised him, and then said, "Amma ba'd," to proceed, "Tufail has dreamt and told some of you what he saw. You say a word such and such prevents me from forbidding you from it. So stop saying as Allah wills and as Muhammad wills. You should rather say as Allah wills alone."
At-Tufail, he is the brother of Aisha from a different mother, from the same mother, but he's a different father. He's not from Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. And Aisha, she's the sister of Asma from the same father but different mother. So he said, "I have seen a vision." As I said, he said, "I've seen a vision, a dream." And the dream is important. And that's why the Prophet ﷺ, almost in every prayer, especially the Fajr prayer, he would say, "Hal minkum man ra'a ru'ya." Anyone who had seen a vision? So one day the Prophet ﷺ asked that question. Anybody had seen a vision? If the companion said no, none of them had said anything. So the Prophet said, "For verily, I have seen a vision." And he started talking about the vision where he had seen an angel, two angels took hold of his hand, and then he went through the people who've been tortured in the hellfire. One of them, which is the one which is the stone goes on top of him, and the one which is giving him the stone, and the river is full of blood, and the one which is getting his cheek from one side to another. And then he was asking about them, and they were told, "Let's go," until finally they have interpreted those things, and the revelation comes to the Prophet through vision. Prophet ﷺ, he had 6 months of revelation at the beginning, where it was through dreams, visions. And the visions was explained by Aisha that whatever, Khadija, whatever he sees in the dream, it comes absolutely as it is in the following day. So the visions of the prophets to be revelation. Prophet Ibrahim a.s. saw in his vision that he is slaughtering his son, and he implemented what he had seen, and Allah said that you have fulfilled your vision. You fulfilled Saddaqta ru'ya. The Prophet ﷺ also, he had given us as a glad tidings that if the prophets had gone, then there will be glad tidings that left. What are the glad tidings? A true vision seen by a believer. True vision seen by a believer. So true vision, that's number one, believer. So it cannot be seen by a wicked evildoer. And it's a true vision, and it's not something to do with it. You have. Can I just ask you? And it's not like, for example, because it's on, isn't it? It's on, isn't it? Yeah. Just a bit of air, and then we'll close it. It's a true vision that we said that the true vision is part of the prophethood. And the Prophet ﷺ, he said, "الرؤيا جزء من 46 جزءا من النبوة." Vision is one segment out of 46 segments of the prophethood, because the prophethood was 23 years, and 6 months out of that is vision. 6 months in terms of relation to the 23 years, that means 1/46. That's how we calculate it. So when the person sees a good vision, then he had seen it. And the good vision, as I said, it is something which is organized. It's nothing to do with Hollywood films. Some people give me, I've seen a vision. And he gives you a Hollywood film, you know, where he's the hero of the film and he's shooting and flying. And no, that's Hollywood film. It's not to do with the proper vision. The proper vision is a vision that the person sees where, for example, the Prophet ﷺ is in paradise. But when the Prophet ﷺ had a person coming to him, the Messenger of Allah, I had my head cut off, and I've seen myself running behind my head. So the Prophet said, I don't want any person to come to me to talk to me about how the shaitan was playing around with him in his dream. He's playing around with him. He's messing about with you in a dream, and you come for me to interpret it. But the vision as well, it's not to do as well sometimes with just always Jannah, but it's something which is organized, like the king at the time of Yusuf alayhi salam. He had seen a vision. إني أرى 7 بقرات سمان يأكلهن 7 عجاف. I could see big, massive, chubby 7 cows being devoured, eaten, predated by 7 skinny ones. And 7 سنبلات خضر. And then also 7 green, corn. They're being taken away by 7 which are dry ones. So it's something which is organized, you can see it. And it looks like it's being repeated. And some of the interpreters who did not have interpretation properly, they said, oh, adghath ahlam. This is just, mere dreams. No interpretation for that. For the one who was being in the prison with Yusuf alayhi salam, he knows Yusuf is an interpreter. He said, I will tell you the interpretation of the dream. And he went to him and he told him, you're going to have 7 years of drought, you're going to have 7 years no crops, and then after that you're going to have 1 year which is really hard upon you. So upon that dream, they prepared as well things. For example, they saved more corn for the sake of those 7 coming from the hardship. The interpretation of the Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam came to the truth. And the Prophet he said, if you have a dream, don't mention except to whom? To the one whom you love. Number 2, knowledgeable person. The one whom you love, to secure yourself from the enemy. And that is why the father of Yusuf, Yaqub alayhi salam, he tells his son, don't mention your dream to your own blood brothers, they will envy you. He saw 11 planets, 11 stars, and also the sun and the moon prostrating to him. That's a dream. And all the story of Yusuf in Surah Yusuf is based upon envy. It's all to do with envy. They have envied him, and they have plotted to kill him. They thought that they murdered him, that he got away with it. So the whole story rotates about envy. So always tell your vision to somebody whom you love. Number 2, knowledgeable. You don't want him to interpret something which is wrong. So he knows what he's interpreting, because whatever his interpretation, whatever is going to take place. So if you interpret it wrongly, he might kill you with his interpretation. Prophet Allah, he said the interpretation of a vision is like on a foot of a bird. Wherever you interpret it, the bird would land. So somebody came with something like he had seen, for example, honey, and he had seen that he's licking from it. Then this person said, you're going to go to nice water and you're going to drown. What is this interpretation? So you're going to kill the person because of your wrong interpretation. This Tufayl, he said, I've seen a dream. In that vision he said, I have came to a crossroad in a group of Jews. I said to them, you are good people. And had it been that you say Uzair ibn Allah. Now, when he says good people, was that, for example, he meant it or he didn't mean it? When he said, oh, you are good people. Because it looks like that it's not to do with all of the Jews. He's talking about that particular group. The one that he passed with. You are good people. Because you can't say all the Jews are bad. Yes, in their creed they're not correct. But in terms of manner-wise, there are some of them fair and balanced. Okay? So he said, you are good people, but you say Uzair ibn Allah. Uzair is a righteous man, attributed to be to Allah. They say more than that. I open it a bit, but it's gone really too much. A bit like this, just a bit. That's it. That's it. I wonder why it was frozen. So Uzair ibn Allah, he is the son of Allah, but they say more than that. They kill the prophets. But they were known for this, as in the Quran. وقالت اليهود عزير ibn Allah. They said the Jews, Uzair is the son of Allah. So they said to reply, look at that. Instead of accepting this advice, like the Prophet accepted the advice of the Jew, and he did not say anything to the Jews, they, the Jews, in the dream they said, well, you are good people as well, the Muslims. Had it been that you say, MashaAllah wa Sha'a Muhammad. So before you tell us this, you also say, if Allah wills and Muhammad wills. And that as well from the dream, and that to tell that Tawheed, he says it. Because he's seen dua in the dream. He says it, and that's why he's... And then he said, I passed by Christians. And I saw those Christians. And I said, you're good people, that group of group. You're good people, but you say the Messiah, the Messiah. Messiah is the one who anoints, the one who wipes the head or wipes the body of the person, and then he gives him life after death. Or he heals him from the leprosy. That's what he called the Messiah. Al-Masih ibn Allah. Messiah is the son of Allah. They said, well, you are good people as well, you Muslims. How do you mean that you say, MashaAllah wa Sha'a Muhammad? Again, they have mentioned the same thing as the Jews. When it came to the morning, he said, I have told whom I told. He didn't say who he told, but he told a number of people. And then he came to the Prophet of Allah. But the correct thing, he should have gone to the Prophet of Allah first. But he made a mistake. And that is why, when he told him, he said, did you tell anybody? He said to him, yes. And Prophet of Allah, if he said no, he would not do what he's going to be doing now. And that is to address the whole nation, whole companions. If he said, no, I did not tell anybody, he would just totally tell him. But because he told everybody, he has now to make it what? Public. So, he said, you told anybody? He said, yes. Okay. He went to the top of the pulpit, praised Allah, and that is khutbat al-hajjah. Then he said, Amma ba'd. So he said, indeed, all praise is due to Allah, we praise him, seek his aid, that's what it is. Amma ba'd, to proceed. Ubayy Tufayl, he had seen a vision, and he told whom he told. Whosoever he told a number of people. And verily, it's like to confirm the vision of At-Tufayl. And this is a confirmation he had done the Prophet to a number of visions. Like for example, the Prophet ﷺ, he confirmed the vision of Abdullah ibn Zayd for the adhan. The adhan came from the confirmation of the Prophet ﷺ to Abdullah ibn Zayd. And also the Prophet ﷺ confirmed number of visions to be true. So if it's true, like this vision, the Prophet ﷺ would either emphasize it or warn against what has been seen. So the Messenger ﷺ, addressing the companions, is saying that verily Tufayl had seen a vision, and he told who he told, and verily they used to say a word. That is the word, MashaAllah wa shi'ta Muhammad. What prevented me from preventing you or telling you off from that is, another narration says, al-haya, being shy. And I need to explain that word. And this hadith is in Sahih of Shaykh al-Albani, 138. So what prevented me is al-haya, I'm shy. He is shy of what? He's not shy of telling you the haqq. Shy because he hasn't been given the go-ahead, the permission. He hasn't been given the command, the revelation to that this is wrong. And that shows you this from the shirk al-asghar. Because it goes from the shirk al-akbar, Prophet Allah straight away, okay, will prevent it. But because of the shirk al-asghar and there is no revelation, Prophet Allah was quiet regarding this issue. Don't you know that the Prophet ﷺ, he never drank alcohol? Never drank wine. Yet, the wine was permissible during the first phase of Islam, and the Prophet didn't say anything. Do you think that the Prophet ﷺ would like the wine? Would he love the wine? No, he doesn't. But he didn't prohibit it, because he could see there is no prohibition from Allah the Almighty. But he himself doesn't like it. We cannot say, for example, Umar al-Khattab is better than the Prophet ﷺ. Because Umar, as soon as he embraced Islam, he said, oh Lord, we want something regarding the alcohol, this wine, we want to prevent it. I don't like it. So do you think that Umar al-Khattab is more than the Prophet ﷺ? No, but the Prophet of Allah, he hadn't got any revelation, and that's why he didn't say anything regarding this issue. Well, but Umar al-Khattab, he said, oh Lord, بَيِّن لَنَا فِي الْخَمْرِ بَيَانًا شَافِيًّا. Show us a clear verse regarding the khamr. So Allah revealed the ayah in Surah Al-Baqarah. That is, وَإِثْمُهُمَا أَكْبَرُ مِنْ نَفْعِهِمَا. For really they got benefit and they got sin, but the sin in them is more than the reward, more than the benefit in them. So the evil in them is more than the benefit in them. Then Umar Khattab was not really happy. Oh Lord, no clear statement regarding it. Don't approach the salah when you are drunk. So the companions stopped getting drunk, just getting drunk when the prayer time is on. But other than that, some of them, they will get what? Drunk. Umar Khattab, he said, oh Lord, we want it more clear. That means they want total prohibition for it. Then Allah revealed the ayat in Surah Al-Ma'idah where the prohibition is complete. إِنَّمَا الْخَمْرُ وَالْمَيْسِرُ وَالْأَنصَابُ وَالْأَزْلَامُ رِجْسٌ مِنْ عَمَلِ الشَّيْطَانِ فَاجْتَنِبُوهُ. So it was completely prohibited. Do you think the Prophet of Allah doesn't want that? But because there's no revelation regarding this, he cannot say anything. That's just like this word. So what is the great benefit that we could gain from here, which not be mentioned in the book, nor by the explanator of the Shaykh ibn Uthaymeen? That is, the Prophet ﷺ used to rule by ijtihad. Whenever there is no revelation. So he would rule by the ijtihad. So the Prophet ﷺ, he would rule by what he thinks is correct. There is no revelation regarding this issue. But if there is a revelation to expose and clarify the matter, then he will rule by that revelation regardless of what the apparent looks of that issue. Maybe it will be against it. I'm going to give you an example. From the story of Hilal ibn Umayyah with his wife. Hilal ibn Umayyah, he had accused his wife of fornicating with a man called Sharik. That he had fornicated with his wife. And that child of hers is not from him. So when he came to the Prophet ﷺ accusing them, and he's saying this, he said, Prophet of Allah to him, either you bring me 3 witnesses beside you, 4 witnesses, or I'm going to lash you in my back. So Messenger of Allah, I'm going to see my wife fornicating, and then I'm going to get 3 people to go and look at her, to go and be a witness, and then I come to you. I will kill her, brother. Just like Ubadah, Sa'd ibn Ubadah said, I'll kill her. Prophet Allah said, either bring me witnesses, or I'm going to lash you. So he said, verily, Messenger of Allah will reveal something to show that I am truthful, innocent. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He had revealed verses, وَالَّذِينَ يَرْمُونَ أَزْوَاجَهُمْ, the ones who accuse their wives of fornicating, then if they can't bring witnesses, then they could do the li'an. How is the li'an? They themselves witnesses for what they say. They say 4 testimonies, which is equivalent to 4 witnesses. That they, by Allah, that they have seen them fornicating. By Allah, which is called li'an, li'an the curse. By Allah, so the Prophet ﷺ, even though he knows that Hilal ibn Umayyah is telling the truth, he is ruling by what? But what the verses have said before. The verses said, they have to bring 4 witnesses, otherwise they're going to be laughed. So he rules by the revelation regardless of what is actually the truth is. It goes further on as well. So when he had asked him to the 4 testimonies, the 5th one he said to him, this is the one will entail the punishment in the hereafter. Be careful if you're a liar. So he said to him, that is the wrath of Allah, the curse of Allah is upon you if you are a liar. Then he brought the woman, his wife. She's now, either she will be, stoned to death if she did not prevent this by another encountering 4 witnesses, 4 testimonies. So she has to say, by Allah, I am not a liar. By Allah, I did not do it. By Allah, 4 times. And the 5th one, the Prophet ﷺ said, hold, the 5th one will entail the punishment if you're a liar. Because the Prophet said, Wallahi, one of you is a liar. So the 5th one, she said, mother, and she was hesitating to say it. And even the narrator of the hadith, he said, we thought she's going to pull out and she says, I've done it. I've fornicated. And then she said, no, I'm not going to make a scandal of my people. So she went on with it, her oath. She said, the 5th one, the curse of Allah is upon me if I'm a liar. And after that she said it, the husband is not allowed to accuse of fornication. That's it. Nobody's allowed to accuse of fornication. Because she said, I haven't done it, even though she had done it. So when she said that, so the child, now first of all, is not from the son of his. It will be attributed to the mother only. Prophet of Allah said, see the child. Who's he going to look like? The child came, he was looking like the one who fornicated with her, not to the husband. He said, had it been that there is a revelation from Allah, I would have had a different story with her. I would have dealt with her differently. But because of the what? Revelation. Revelation says, "Khalas, you have to accept what she said." So the Prophet of Allah, he would rule by his ijtihad if there is no wahi. But if there is a wahi, revelation, and that thing, then the Prophet of Allah, regardless of the situation, he would rule with that wahi, even if there is something to say that it is on the contrary. He would rule with the wahi. And that is, we have gained it from this story and the story of Hilal ibn Umayyah. Go to the issues now. Yes, go to the mic.
Important issues. The first, the Jews knew the minor shirk. And the second, a person would understand a thing even when he has particular inclinations.
Second one, it says, how can the person understand a text when he has his own whims and desires? Look at the Jewish man who came to advise the Prophet of Allah. How did he understand the text regarding they themselves who commit the shirk? When the person has pre-perceptions of something, they will control him to understand something. Do you understand me? And he should not have pre-perceptions. And that is what we say is a principle. First, look at the proof. And then, accumulate your opinion and decision. Don't make your decision based upon your whims or desire, and then look at the proofs, because you're going to reinterpret those proofs to be according to what? Your whims and desire. We call it in Arabic, لَيْلُ أَعْنَاقِ النُّصُوص. That is, to twist the necks of these proofs. And proofs about neck, you're twisting the neck to suit what? The desires. So in Arabic we say, استدل ثم اعتقد. First of all, go to the proofs, and then build your creed. Not like the partisans which are deviant. What do they say? اعتقد ثم استدل. First of all, have your proper creed, base your, decide, make your decisions, and then start to look for the proofs that would support your already built decision. And that's a disaster. Do you understand that? So they first of all, they will, so for example, they will come to the Hindu. The Hindu have already built their aqidah is that the cow is their god. So they come to everything that would what? Support their belief. Same thing with the Muslim partisans these days. Same thing. They will say, for example, that this is what we need to know, like the first Hizb al-Tahrir. We want to make, for example, looking at pornography halal. By this, by the way, attract lots of youth. The youth will say, oh, that's good. Hizb, as long as they make you to look at pornography halal, alhamdulillah, khalas. So, it is halal. How can we make it halal? But to look for the proofs. So they come to any proof to make it halal, but they come to a clever proof. They said, for example, is the image like reality? So, image is not like reality. According to the Hanafi madhab, the image of something does not hold the same rule as reality. So if you look at a person, is not like looking at the shadow of a person. So if you're looking at a woman who is naked, then it's haram. But if you look at the shadow of the naked of a woman, that doesn't carry the same rule. So then this Tahiri person will have, every person will have a mirror in his pocket. Like this, haram, but like that, with a mirror, halal. Same thing here with the, I'm not laughing. So look at that magazine now. Magazine, is it real or reflection? Reflection, sound, pornography. So I'll look at it, because looking at this, no problem, because it's not like looking at her, haram. But looking at the page, sorry about that. Somebody's phone number. So the person who looks at the same thing with the songs. They make listening to the songs through the radio, through the recorded things, no problem. Because they say that the real sound is not like the echo. So the recordings are not the real sound. They are the echoes. They are recorded. How do they know this? Because they made a decision and they looked through the proofs. Ahnaf. Look at that. Ahnaf, they say that for them, when you hear the ayah which contains prostration, sujood, you must prostrate. Wajib, compulsory. So if your reciter says an ayah, fasjudu lillah, so khalas, you make sujood. But now if the Ahnaf goes, but if you had heard a reciter through the echo, he was reciting in the mountains, and it's not his real voice came to you, it's the echo from the mountain, fasjudu lillah, for example. So is that compulsory or not compulsory? No, it's not compulsory, because it's not the real sound, it's the echo of the sound. Good thing. The Tahiri found is what he wanted now. That's what he was after. So when you talk like this, it's different from where you could record it. So if you hear it through the radio, for the recordings, it does not carry the same rule. So if song's haram. But if you hear it through a machine, it's not the real, it does not carry the same rule as haram. Because remember, and I've said, if you listen to the verse directly, you must prostrate. If you listen to the echo of a verse, they didn't have recordings at the time of the Ahnaf. They had the echo, then it hasn't got the same rule. You can't say it's haram. So make sure that this is, I would say, an evil, satanic principle. To have a creed, to believe, and then after that you look for to prove it. No, your belief has to be stemmed, taken away from proofs. Istadil thumma i'taqid. We come into the third one. Okay, change it. No, quickly. No, go.
The third, he's saying, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, do you join me as rival with Allah? However, the one who says, there is none for me to resort to except you, and the two verses after it.
Two couplets, shouldn't say verses.
Two couplets. Right. Third one, he says, أَجَعَلْتَنِي لِلَّهِ. Did you make me equal to Allah? It says, a person is a companion. Will be, it should be well known to you that the companion doesn't mean that he is making Prophet of Allah equal to Allah. How? He run away from shirk, and now they're going to go to shirk? Akbar? No way. But he wanted to what? To respect the Prophet of Allah. He wanted to show him more respect. If Allah wills and you will. He doesn't mean Prophet of Allah equal to Allah. No way. It's shirk asghar. He doesn't mean that. So he wanted actually to glorify the Prophet of Allah. Not as much he glorifies Allah the Almighty. But even though the Prophet of Allah, he judged him by the words, not by the intention. And even though he said to him, what you meant, it does not give you a validation, does not take the blame away from you. Don't say that, it's not right. Say it if Allah wills alone. You could say if Allah wills and then you will, Messenger of Allah. But the Prophet of Allah doesn't want anybody to have the hint the Prophet of Allah is equal to Allah the Almighty, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then he says, if that is the case regarding a companion, who he himself is definitely free from the shirk akbar, he's being told off like this. How about this person who is making a couplet, shi'r, poetry, which is he meant al-Busiri. Let's hear the Busiri. He said, the one who says, Mali aludhu bihi siwak. This is a poet who says, Ya akram al-khalq, the most noble creation. Who's that? Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Ya akram al-khalq, Ya akram al-khalq, man li, man aludhu bihi siwak. Who's going to be beside you who I seek refuge with? عند حلول الحادث العممي, when the great thing takes place, when the resurrection, it means, takes place. Who else apart from you I'm going to seek refuge with? Then there's following two couplets behind after that as well. This is in itself shirk. The other one is إن لم تكن آخذا يوم المعاد يدي عفوا وإلا فقل يا زلة القدم. If you're not going to be on the day of resurrection, that is the day of promise, the day of resurrection, the day of the hour, taking hold of my hand and pardoning me, then if it is not the case, say what it's a mistake of myself, that if he did not take hold of my hand and gave me the pardoning, which Allah only gave the pardoning, then فَإِنَّ مِن جُودِكَ الدُّنْيَا وَضَرَّتَهَا. For verily, from your generosity is the whole dunya. So you are the one who produced the dunya. وَضَرَّتَهَا, and the one which is equal to it. وَمِنْ عُلُومِكَ عِلْمُ اللَّوْحِ وَالْقَلَمِ, and from your knowledge, the knowledge of the absolute unseen, which is the preserved tablets. Subhanallah, it's got extremism, it's got kufr in it, and all of that. So if the Prophet of Allah was alive, what would he say to that man? We'll see. What are you going to say to that man? Because that man is not a companion. He would say that you have made yourself as a disbeliever. So this is disbelief, kufr, shirk, wal-iyadu billah, extremism. This is the ghulu. Number 4. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Give me this.
The fourth, that this is not from major shirk, according to his saying that such and such prevents me.
Number 5.
And the fifth, that a true dream is from the aspects of revelation. And the sixth, that it could be means of bringing about some legislations.
It could be means to bring about some legislation. We have to tie up to what? At the time of the Prophet, not after the revelation. We have to put that. So the Sufi will say, look, you see, you Salafis, you say, it could be a reason for making ahkam now. So, do you understand? It has to be at the time of revelation. There's no revelation now. So the person says, you know something? I'm having communication with the Prophet ﷺ at the moment. And he's telling me that you could do that. You could do this. So it has to be at the time of revelation. At the time of revelation, the Prophet of Allah, he had confirmed, like as I said to you, some vision, like the vision of Abdullah ibn Zayd, when he had seen the adhan. And the Prophet said, it's a correct vision. And it was confirmed as well when Umar heard the adhan. He said, Wallahi, it is a vision, I have seen the same thing. He heard the adhan, he said, I have seen that the same thing. He said, this is tatabuq al-ru'ya, that the more vision are what? Making the same. So when we had the Shaykh al-Albani dying, we had a number of people had seen the vision which is almost the same, from righteous people. But can we say that, oh, he's guaranteed paradise? Can we say that? No, yeah. But it's good, glad vision. Okay, glad vision. So, and as well, there was a vision seen by somebody that, and it's been interpreted by a scholar of vision as well, that the Ahl Sunnah, they're going to defeat the Rafidah in Yemen. Okay, so he had seen, like black turbans are being crashed into bulldozers or something like this. So he interpreted that, inshallah, it's a great, glad tidings that the Rafidah will be defeated. Does that mean, Mr. Army, Saudi Arabia, let's relax, don't do anything, the vision is being fulfilled, those people are going to be crushed. Khalas, why? Well, somebody had seen a vision. Can we say that? No, we have to strive on doing that. And that vision, inshallah, will give us more spirit, lift up our spirit for doing it, but it cannot be something that is as a definite, it cannot be decisive. By this, alhamdulillah, we finish the chapter, and we go to the... Shall we go to the following chapter? Yeah. Go to the following chapter, yeah. Sorry.
Chapter 45. Whoever curses time has wronged Allah.
Allah says,
And Allah says, this is in Surah Jathiyah verse 24, translation of the meaning of the verse in English, and they say, there is nothing but our life of this world. We die and we live, and nothing destroys us except ad-dahr, the time. And they have no knowledge of it, they only conjecture.
No, this is not from the translation of that verse. The verse is up to that, yuhlikuna ad-dahr. This is an addition from the author translating to the meaning. Okay. Bab man sabba ad-dahr. Chapter of who had insulted, cursed the dahr. Dahr means the time. And the Prophet ﷺ, he says that if the person had said La ilaha illallah before he dies, then it will benefit him one day in a time. From the time. The dahr has been mentioned for the time, and also mentioned the dahr, it means 1 year. So from the meaning of it is 1 year. And he who insulted the dahr, he had harmed Allah. He harmed means that he had brought something which Allah dislikes. Do you understand that? He had ata ma yakrahu Allah. He had brought something which Allah dislikes. It's not the harm that you do to a person. You see, the harm as well in Arabic, you might hear something, it harms you, isn't it? Not physically. It harms you, well, that he said something about you which is wrong. It harms you. So this is the harm as well. So it's not harm, it has to be physical. I leave a bruise or something like this. So the harm here for Allah the Almighty is not like the harm to the human being. Number two is the harm as well. It means that he brought something that displeases Allah Azza wa Jal. He who insulted the dahr, the time. Insultation is not a description. Like for example, a person said, you know, today really hot, very hot, extremely hot, so hot I can't do anything. SubhanAllah. So you are expressing a complaint regarding the heat. And Allah Azza wa Jal in the Quran a number of times, He had said, يوم عصيب هذا يوم عصيب. It was a difficult day. These are the people of Lut. They said, Allah described that أيام النحسات, nights or days which were nahisat, which were bad. So it's not insultation, it's a description. It's like a very gusty day, very gusty. You understand me? Thunder and miserable weather. You're not really describing too much rain and too much mud and too much wind and too much cold. But those people insulted in one of the two ways. Either they believe the dahr, the time, is the real manufacturer of such a thing, and they are mushrikeen, they are kuffar, it's a shirk akbar. You understand? The time, the weather is the one manufactures such events. And the other one, who is insulting the time, he doesn't believe that it is the real creator of the events, but actually he is believing Allah is the real cause. But yet he's insulting the time, which is to do with his stupidity. Because when you insult the time has got nothing to do with what is happening. Do you understand that? It is not to do with what is happening. It is Allah, the one who is making things to go this way. So it's an implicit insultation to Allah the Almighty. Not explicit, it's an implicit. And that is haram, it is not shirk. It is not shirk, it is haram. And this haram does not reach the level of shirk. It is not a shirk. The other one is shirk, this one is not shirk. So you are a believer in Allah, but you're insulting, and actually you should be having more sense. The time doesn't do anything. Allah is the real cause of these events to take place. So he who had insulted the dahr, then he had insulted Allah. Allah says in the book, وَقَالْ, those kuffar, mushrikeen, hypocrites, they said exactly what the people who are believing in the time, the dahri we call them, they said, مَا هِيَ إِلَّا حَيَاتُنَا الدُّنْيَا. It is our life in the dunya. نَمُوتُ وَنَحْيَا. Some of us die, some of us live, group of die, group of other people die, live, and نَمُوتُ وَنَحْيَا. وَمَا يُهْلِكُنَا إِلَّا الدَّهْرِ. And doesn't kill us or make us to die except at the time. I mean, the night's passing, the day passing, we grow old, and that's how we die. Now this is of course wrong. This is wrong. Wrong from the text and wrong from the intellect. How is it wrong? You see, first of all, that we know from the book and the sunnah that there is a last day, the hereafter. And we should be believing that there is a last day. So it's not, you're going to die and that's it, you're going to turn to dust, and there is no return to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Also, that we know that Allah Azza wa Jal, from the intellect, we know that some people, they actually live for a long time, and some children die when they are what? Just in the cradle. And the days and the night did not do anything to them. So that is as well a refutation to you. So what do you say that the day and the night kills you? Sometimes you know, some of them, like Nuh alayhi salam, more than 950 years, Adam alayhi salam, 1,000 years, and some the day was one day, half an hour. So that is well refutation by the intellect wise. So what you're saying is not correct. Now, the verse in terms of relationship to the chapter is that the people who attribute the events to the dahr, then he's actually gonna fall into insultation of the time and actually will insult Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Those people are kuffar, attributing the effects to the time. They're not attributing the effects to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right. And in the hadith it says, let's finish it.
And in the Sahih, it occurs on the authority of Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Allah the Exalted said, the son of Adam wrongs me. He curses the dahr, the time, although I am the time. And I change the day and night. In another version it says, do not curse the dahr, the time, for Allah is the dahr.
Right. He says in the Sahih, and he said a number of times, the author hasn't got a principle regarding when he says Sahih. It could be in Sahih Bukhari and Muslim, could be Sahih Bukhari and so on, could be Sahih Muslim and so on. So he hasn't got a principle regarding the word in a Sahih. So it could be Bukhari and Muslim, could be Bukhari and so on, could be Muslim and so on. Right. In a Sahih that Abu Hurairah had said, and this hadith by the way is in Al-Bukhari and Muslim. That Abu Hurairah, the Prophet he said, Allah had said, which is Hadith Qudsi. And we have discussed the Hadith al-Qudsi a long time ago. We said Hadith Qudsi, the meaning of it is from Allah, the words are from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Yu'dhini ibn Adam. Son of Adam is, Yu'dhini ibn Adam. Son of Adam is saying something or doing something that annoys me, is displeasing to me. I hate it. What is that? He said, Yasubbu dahr. He's insulting the dahr, time. And I am the dahr. I am the dahr, it means I am the one who runs the dahr. Why? Because the following says, أُقَلِّبُ اللَّيْلَ وَالنَّهَارَ. I am the one who makes the day follows the night, the night, day follows the night, the night follows the day. So it's not I am the dahr, that means I am the time itself. No, I am the one who runs the time. That's number one. And it doesn't mean that as well I am the dahr is one of my names of the dahr. Because the dahr is a name which is to do with the time. And Allah's name, that attribute has to be the ultimate. That's not Allah personal. The most ultimate in their praiseworthy. Do you understand me? So, and the dahr is the time, it cannot be praiseworthy. And Allah's name is not a fixed name. It has to have what we call in English, I don't know, tafdeed. That means something which is better. So, like for example, the word will be having more. And in the word dahr is an accident, more dahr. Can't say more dahr. So ahsan, afdal, better, and more, the best. The names of Allah mushtaqqa is like it's being derived. It's not, I cannot explain it in a proper English because they don't have it in English. It's only Arabic language. But the dahr cannot be the name of Allah. For reason number one, it is not from the words which I will call it, you could derive from it. Number two, it's not from the Asma al-Husna. Number three, which is because of the hadith itself, he says, I run the day and the night. That means I am the dahr, running the dahr, running the time. And number four, because of the verses we mentioned before. These kuffar, what did they say? It is only our day, our life in this dunya. We die and live. And what kills us is the what? What makes us to die is the what? The dahr. If the dahr is one of the names of Allah, then what the people, kuffar, is saying is correct. Do you understand that? If the dahr is the name of Allah, then these mushrikeen would have never been made shirk, because they said, and nothing will make us to die except for Allah. Because the dahr is not Allah. So that's to show you that the dahr...
Superlative.
What does that mean?
The highest.
Oh yes, I mean like the better and the best. Superlative. So how do you write that? Super?
The superlative.
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 Superlative. Superlative. I like soup. Superlative. Right? Open. Super and lative. Superlative. Jazakallah khair. Right, so from the ayah we know the dahr is not from Allah. And that's a benefit here. The ayah mentioned the dahr, it doesn't mean the dahr is wrong. Because if the dahr means Allah, those kuffar will not be saying something wrong. Right. Now we go to the issues. And by the way, he said, La tasubbu dahr, another, don't insult the dahr, for Allah is the dahr. And this riwayah is to show you that it's prohibited to insult the dahr. You cannot insult it. May Allah curse tomorrow, today, and whatever. Can't say that. No.
And the wisdom, the important issues. The first, the prohibition of cursing the dahr. The second, calling it wronging regarding Allah. And third, contemplation, his saying, for Allah is the dahr. And the fourth, that he could be cursing even he does not intend that in his heart.
The last one is that you could be cursing without you intending, even that is not right, it's not correct. And by the way, if you look at the hadith where it says, for Allah is the time, don't insult the time, for Allah is running the time. When you show the reason why in the text of Quran or the text, when the reason is being shown why you should not be saying this reason is being derived for three benefits. Benefit number one is to show the wisdom behind it. Number two is to increase your iman. Why shouldn't I say this? Because of that. And number three, that if you knew the reason, you could run this reason to other as well rules. So because of the same reason, I could derive the same law for this as well. So three benefits when the reason is being presented to you why you should not say this. Number one, we said, to show the hikmah, the wisdom. Number two is to increase your iman, because once you know the reason why it has been prohibited, then you get. And number three, that if you knew the reason, you could run this to other as well things, and you will use it. You say, okay, this could be halal, could be haram, could be right, could be wrong, prohibited, not prohibited, because the similar thing had happened in that first thing. Okay, by this, alhamdulillah, we've finished chapter 45 and 46. I don't think we're going to go through it, so we will leave the time for the rest of the time with the question and answers, and Michael could come out of the room, inshallah. Now, Fadl.
Can you give an example of how one is describing the time of weather and how one's cursing it?
Describing the weather in a way which is the description of it. And cursing it is that you intend to curse it. It's like you are sick of it and you want to curse it. It's you are responsible for it. So I'm describing the weather. Today is really gusting wind. And it's so cold, extremely cold, I think it is dull. It is, it is not really helping me in doing what I'm trying to do. Today is really extremely hot. Very hot. I'm getting headache because of the heat. I wish it's not really hot. So that's describing, but damn the heat, or damn the cold. Damn this day, now this miserable. So, if you do that, you are actually implicitly, you are insulting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because Allah is giving you this. And those people say that, for example, and especially the ones who live in England, every time it rains, it's miserable. And why are you saying miserable? For us, if that rain comes, alhamdulillah, we're looking for it. We were waiting for the day when the rain comes. What is miserable for you, it is what? It's so blessings for us. And I want Allah Azza wa Jal, no, I don't want, but I imagine if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had stopped this miserable, what they call it, for a number of years, what's going to happen for them now? That we'll say, oh, we want that miserable thing. If Allah Azza wa Jal had to stop this, what they call it, miserable, no rain, no rain, no rain. It happened actually that the rain had lacked, I remember in the 80s when I was here, in the 80s. And they prevented hose pipe usage, no washing of the cars, don't flush your toilet for a number of days. I remember that, 1985, 86. And he was all the time on the TV. Okay, and there was even like a point of water, source of water outside for the people to use. So it was really, lack of rain. They knew that the blessings of the water. So why is it miserable? Because it doesn't let them to go out and walk naked and with their makeup, because it will melt down on their faces. Okay, they have to use an umbrella. That's why it's miserable. But the farmers, they know how blessings and grace from Allah to have this rain. Farmers, they know that. Now, but of course, always when you have the rain, you always say Allahumma sayyiban nafi'a, because the rain could come and drown you. The rain could come and there's no crops. So you always ask, oh Lord, make it beneficial. Now.
So if you have a dream, you want to say to a non-Jew person or someone who you love, that person who you love is your brother, you want to say as
No problem, yes, you say it. So the condition is to your love. But to interpret it, don't let him interpret it, unless he has knowledge of it. So no problem, you say to the one who love, yes. The one who love, and you are having more of dhan that he's not going to envy you. I'm sure that Yusuf alayhi salam, he loved his brothers. But his father told him not to convey it to them because they might envy him. But the Prophet always said, لا تقص رؤياك إلا على من تحب. Do not give ru'ya except for the one whom you love. I mean, love, and also with the addition of that, you don't think he's going to be envying. So, and that means he love and he loves you back. That's what it means. He loves you back. Because if he loves you, you would love whatever good comes to him, comes to you as well. That's what I love. So if you've got good things, you say, oh, لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى يحب لأخيه ما يحب لنفسه من الخير. Nobody will gain the proper relief until you love for your brother what you love for yourself from the good. Uncle.
Thank you. Sometimes I hear brothers say a number of things about time. They say something like, I don't know what has happened time. Time has gone so quickly.
No problem. It's a description.
Number two, they say, I don't know what to do. I'm trying to kill time. Kill time.
Okay. That's a good word actually. And I'm just saying a good question. So I'm killing the time. Killing the time, it means to everybody passing the time. Passing the time. In Arabic, يقضي على الوقت. And it's actually, if you translate it, يقضي على الوقت is to kill the time. يقضي على الوقت. I mean, it's killing the time. If it's been known to be a word which is in that sense, is no problem. But I would rather use past the time is better than the killing the time. I'm not saying it's haram to use the word killing, but always, you should be careful regarding some of those words that have more than one meaning. And at the same time, don't be fussy when a person, don't say kill the time, pass the time. I don't like that as well. It's going extreme. But if I want to advise a person, always keep on the safe side. If you ask me, I'll tell you, but I'm not going to say to you, I'm going to kill the time, brother, you're going to kill Allah. I'm not going to say that to him because I know that what he means. He's going to pass the time. And actually, it could be used, uncle, in the positive term. How? See, when you're killing the time, I mean, brother, you're not benefiting from it. It's killing. Do you understand me? So you can use it in the positive term. You are killing the time. And you should not be killing the time. You should be investing in the time. Killing the time, it means what? You are not wasting it. So that's the positive term it could be used as well. So brother, don't kill the time. Now, Fadl, uncle.
Sorry, I interrupted you.
No problem.
I think I can't see you.
No problem, uncle.
Sometimes they say time is going so quickly, and then they add, I'm sure this is the time of the hour is coming.
That's correct. Time will come quickly because the hour is getting closer. Prophet Allah said, يَتَقَارَبُ الزَّمَنِ, that the time will start to come very shrinking. Very shrinking. Shrinks. Hatta until the hour becomes like a month. Sorry, the year becomes like a month, and the month becomes like the week, and the week becomes like the day, and the day becomes like our passing. And that is true. Ramadan, you only finished, isn't it? Brothers, Ramadan is only what? How many months left? 5. 5? God, no, subhanAllah. Ramadan, we only fasted. Subhanallah. We are in the month, at the end of the month number 4, or the beginning of it. We're the 15th. Subhanallah. I mean, you only just finished Ramadan, and have another Ramadan. It's like, the time is going quick, we want to hold it. We want to hold it, we can't hold it. I'm saying this myself, Ramadan is only 5. We passed the 6 months mark. Allahu Musta'an. Naam, uncle, any question? جزاكم الله خير. طيب تفضل. I've heard of a person who's a sheikh and he's a student of knowledge. He was complaining, he said, I used to do a lot in my previous times. I can't anymore. There's no barakah. So that's what the scholars, you find that they're not finding the same, even the 24 hours, still 24 hours. But what they used to achieve in the 24 hours before, it's not the same that they achieve in the 24 hours these days. Barakah has been pulled out. I'm talking about people who are investing their time in not PlayStation or dice, in the time of reading. So they cannot achieve what they used to achieve before. Fadal.
So we see benefits and the third benefit of
You showing the reason for something?
could you give an example of that? Is if you know reason, use it for similar things, something similar to life.
Like for example, why is it, for example, that the cigarette is haram? Prophet ﷺ, he said that there is no darar or dirar. There's nothing harming itself or harming to others. Haram. So I'm using that illah, that reason, for the smoking. Cigarette haram or halal? I want to know. So the darar, the harm in it, is from that hadith. I'm using the same reason to make this smoking to be haram. There is no hadith saying smoking is haram. No such thing. And before, smoking was not haram because it was not known for 100% or for certainty that it is actually harmful. But now we know it is 100% harmful. Do you understand that? So if we know something which has got common reason, we could use it the same thing. Cards, playing cards. Playing cards, haram or halal. If it's got the same reason as what is being derived from the reason of the dice, what is the dice? What is the dice reason? Why is being haram? We know it because of chance, luck. So if you're playing cards, if it's got the same reason, it becomes haram. So it's not just the dice, anything to do with what? Luck. So there are games in the cards which are luck, chance, like poker. I'm just saying, it's really fast. So some of the card games is chance, like poker. And some of the games of the cards are to be with memorization, calculations, whatever. Those are not the same. So as long as the card got no images and the card hasn't got as well the premier things in your list, you killing time with it, there's no problem to play that game. And the Shaykh said, sometimes you get boring time. So he said, Sa'am. So you use the cards to fill that time in order to bring life to yourself to go ahead and read. There's no problem. There's not a person from reading and studying and have a break for reading and studying again. It cannot be called a break. A break means what? You do something else. So if a person play that game, which is a mathematical game or memorization, he memorizes something. Okay, depends upon how good in memorization. No problem. But if it's a game to depend upon more than 50%, which is chance, like poker. Poker, whether you are a big poker gamer or a first timer, you might win against the one who's in pokering for a long time. You could be just winner. Because it depends what? Pure chance. Chance. And everything with the destiny of Allah. When you pre the chance, it means number one, you are attributing things not to Allah. Number two, you're going to take the right of other people. So experienced person, and you, the amount of that you, which is not experienced, can win against an experienced person, and that's injustice. So the injustice in it is a lot. Do you understand? Injustice. And that is why any transaction where the risk is high is not allowed. It's not allowed. So any transaction you do, and the risk of high that means either you gain a lot or you lose a lot. That's called gambling. It's called gambling. Now, we leave the last question. Follow. Last question.
You know, some of the, I think the Ash'ari, they say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't actually time, or he doesn't, he's not bound by direction.
Not bound by?
Time, he's not bound by time, and he doesn't have a direction.
So, this is nothing to do with our topic. So a person, he says that Allah is not bound by time.
He doesn't do any actions in time. They say it's haram.
To say haram that he doesn't do action in time. Well, I don't understand. They're saying this is not to do with. Has anybody heard about this? I've never heard this person say that. I've never heard that. This is talking about philosophers. You're talking about group or partisan, particularly. But this is not the daily life, isn't it? Isn't it? It's something that you read in the books about Mu'tazila that a long time ago used to say, but not anymore. First of all, we need to know that Allah described Himself with the most beautiful names and attributes. So when He says, لَيْسَ كَمِثْلِهِ شَيْءٍ وَهُوَ السَّمِيعُ الْبَصِيرُ, there's nothing like unto Him. So He's generally had negated everything that looked like Him. وَهُوَ السَّمِيعُ الْبَصِيرُ, He attributed something to Him that maybe people would negate that from Him. That is, He holds all hearing and all seeing. Allah, we know, He's the awwal wal akhir, the first and the last. First and the last means first is nothing like before Him. Last, nothing after Him. So that negates there's no time. Allah was and there was no time. Time is creation. So when He says the first, do you understand? So we understand that because there was no time, He's the first. There's nothing like before Him because He is before time. And He's not in a place because He's before the place. The place was created after. So Allah, He can, وَلَمْ يَكُنْ مَعَهُ شَيْءٍ. Allah, He was, and there's nothing with Him. No time, no place, no space. Three things. No time, no place, no space, nothing. Allah created that. And that's how we describe Allah. It's nothing before Him. He's the first because He is the creator. Because as I said, time is implemented to creation, not to Allah Azza wa Jalla. Not to the creator. Apart from that, philosophy. Why do you want to go into the philosophy? So stick with this, with the hadith, stick with the ayah of the Quran, you'll be safe. So coming now to your phrase, the second one you said? No direction. No direction. So what do you mean by that? Allah's got no direction. If you said Allah has got no direction from Himself, I understand that because Allah, He was, and there's no direction. There's no place anyway. So when there's no place, there's no direction. But if you are negating something which might be haqq, when I say, where is Allah? You said to me, this is that direction or not direction? I'm asking, direction or not direction? Direction, but for me, it's a direction for me. For me, it's a direction to there. But it's not for Allah. Do you understand the difference? Because when I say like this, and the person who's in China or the person in Australia, on the other side of the hemisphere, and he says like this, it totally different direction from mine. 360 degrees. I'm saying like this, and he's saying like that. So direction for both of us, but Allah has got no direction. But why should I say Allah's got no direction, Allah's got no foot like this, Allah's got no eyes like this, Allah's got no skin like this, Allah's got no finger like this? You are actually comparing Allah to the creation. And that is not absolving Allah. Do you understand me? It's actually degrading Allah. Do you understand that? When you start, like for example, look how stupidly did the person. You want to describe the leg of the table. This table has got a leg, not like the leg of a human being. What an idiot person you are. The leg of the table, the leg of the table. Why do you want to compare it to my leg? Do you understand that? So when we, let's say the Queen comes in, Elizabeth, you are very clean, not like that dirty, floor sweeper. Is that going to be happy for the Queen, or is it going to be putting you in prison maybe? You are very clean, not like that floor sweeper. or that rubbish collector, you know. How can you compare me with that? Same thing, Allah has got a hand, but it's not like the hand. Allah's got no direction. Allah said about himself, لَيْسَ كَمِثْلِهِ شَيْءٍ. There is nothing like unto him, without details. Not detailing him. But if there is a group of people who are attributing something like this, and Allah had came with detailed refutation of that, we stick to that. Like for example, Allah had negated the sun. Why? Because the Christians attributed what? A son. Subhanahu wa yakuna lahu walad. Glorified he is to have a son. But not in everything that he would negate. The negation is always in general. There's nothing like unto him. But in particular this, Allah had absolved himself from having a son. So we're not going to have Allah has got no direction. Why should we say that? Allah is nothing like unto him. And those people say to the Sha'ir, Allah laysa fi makan. Allah is not in a place. Allah, when you say in a place, it's like, what are you saying? Because Allah, He was, there was nothing with Him. Khalas. No place, no space, no time. Finished. Why is it Allah is no place? Because the place is of two types. Place which is created, you call it al-makan, al-makan al-makhluq, and al-makan al-adami, al-dhihni. This is the place which is in the mind. So you say Allah, He was, and there was nothing with Him. When you are taking that place, that you are actually negating the existence of Allah, that's when we say you're wrong. Do you understand me? Because in your mind, nothing can exist unless it's got a place, true or not? Nothing, and you call it your mentality. Nothing would exist except it has got a place. Because no place has got no existence. So when you say Allah has got no place, which place you mean? The existence of Allah? Or the place which is being created? We already said to you, my dear brother, that Allah was there and there was nothing with Him. So what is that place that you're negating? You could be negating the existence of Allah Himself. Do you understand that? And that's a very proper knockout. Sheikh Al-Bani used it against those Ash'ari. So what are you trying to say when there's no place? And that's what Sheikh Al-Bani said. When you say Allah has got no jasad means what? Body. And Allah, He's got the most, what do you mean body? What do you mean by a body? Is the body that the created body? Of course. It's negated. But the body which means the existence of Allah. Be careful, akhi. So we're not negating something, and we're not attributing something except for what Allah had negated, and for what Allah had attributed Himself. That's the most safest way. You attribute to what Allah He attributed Himself, and you negate what Allah negated Himself. And that is we call it no direction. The same thing here. Because those people who are saying Allah is not above, He is not down, direction, not right, not left, not outside the world, not inside the world, not inside the linked to the universe, not attached to the universe. Okay? I mean, that in itself, in each one, it could be correct. But what Ibn Taymiyyah said, those people have lost their Lord. They don't know where's the Lord. Where's God? And another objection that if you want to come to the best definition of non-existence, what is non-existence? Something does not exist. It's exactly the definition of these people. What does not exist, then it's not above you, it's not below you, it's not right, it's not on the left, it's not outside the world, it's not inside the world, it's not linked to the universe, it's not detached from the universe. And that's nothingness. You describe nothingness, you cannot come up with a better definition than this. So Allah is not existent. But do you understand that now? So that's this is the answer for those people that Allah has got no direction. Why are you saying that? There's nothing like unto Him. Why did He create Allah to compare Him with creation? Why do you have to use your physical laws which Allah being imposed upon us and He taught us onto Allah the Creator? When Allah you say descend, why do you have to say, oh, Allah does not descend? Why? Because descendance means that we're going to be a person going from above to below, so you're going to lose the space, and the space is going to be filled with air. This is physical laws, this is not to Allah. Allah descends the way is suitable to His Majesty. That's it. Relax, brother, relax. Huh? Take it easy. Relax. Allah descends the way is suitable to His Majesty. Khalas, I'm relaxed with that. But these people go into it. Oh, how did He descend down? How? Why do we how? No how, akhi. There is a how, but we don't really go into the how. There is a how. Because we say there's a how, but we don't go into the how. Because you go into the how, you're going to get lost. Because you are limited, your mind is limited. And you're going to think about the limitless, which is Allah the Almighty. How can the limited think about the limitless? Irrational. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.